Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome to another Whiteboard Wednesday with Richard C. Pendry, our risk management specialist, who's going to help us with his bite-size information. What are we talking about today?
This is episode 7 of the Whiteboard Wednesday series. It is the next building block on the security risk management process, and today we are going to be talking about likelihood.
Why is it so important?
Well, likelihood is one of the pillars of the security risk management process, any risk management process. And what it does, it gives us an information to determine the probability of a threat occurring. A threat is a bad thing that's going to happen to our organization. It gives us that information so we are able to make more informed decisions on how best to prepare against that bad thing happening against us. So we're following the process. We started off, we're on episode 7 now. So We've spoken about assets, identifying assets. We've spoken about the threats against the assets. We're talking about vulnerabilities, how the assets can be attacked. This next one is really important. It's a synergy between likelihood and impact. So it's part of micro-learning series, and it's really, really important for us as a process. Get your headphones on, grab a cup of tea. Let's talk about likelihood. So we've got our first screen up, likelihood. Definition. You know I like my definitions. Definition of likelihood is defined as the probability that the threat will exploit a vulnerability, something that we covered in a previous episode, resulting in harm or loss. It forms one side of the core risk equation. Likelihood times impact equals risk. Remember that we identify a threat and we calculate a risk. Next episode, we're going to be talking about impact, but today we're talking about the likelihood. Now, this is a AI image which I put up today. Pretty good, actually. For me, likelihood is probably the hardest part of the risk management process. What we're trying to do with likelihood is trying to determine if something will happen or not. Now, for those of us who've got a crystal ball and we can see into the future, then that's going to be pretty straightforward. However, for us mere mortals, it's going to be a lot harder. But there is a way to do this. And it's a way that we can actually see into the future and discuss that probability. Okay, so as I previously mentioned, within security risk management, a security incident is normally an intentional act. It's committed by an adversary, an individual, a group, an organization, or entity that poses a threat to an asset by intentionally attempting to compromise its confidentiality, integrity, or availability. So we need to know about our adversaries, okay? So to help you do that, and to help you to be able to score the likelihood, we can use what is called a threat triangle. When we look at the threat triangle, at the top of the apex there is the adversary, the person or the organization that wants to do us harm. Now, this could be external to the organization or internal. Remember, a couple of episodes ago, we spoke about insider risk. So there are external and internal adversaries. So we need to know who these people or who these individuals or who these groups are that want to harm us. When we look at the opportunity is the vulnerability. How vulnerable is the asset that we're trying to protect? If it doesn't have the layers, the onion layers, which we spoke about previously, then there will be more vulnerability to that asset and more opportunity for the actual adversary to attack it. And then we've got the means or the capability of the actual adversary. What are they capable of doing? What has been their attack history previously? What's their modus operandi? How do they attack? How often? Who have been their targets? What their intentions are moving forward? This information has to be utilized. And as we're driving forward, what we're doing is we're also looking in the rear view mirror of what's happened previously, but using the threat triangle in identifying the adversary, identifying what the opportunities are, the vulnerabilities to the assets, and how capable the adversary is at doing these things will give us the information that will allow us to move to the next stage. We're collecting the information. Now, on this slide, we're looking at descriptors for likelihood. You've probably all seen this as part of a risk matrix. What we would do initially with the information that we collect about our adversaries and the vulnerability, we'd put it in a report. We would then, to highlight it, we would put it into a risk matrix. So what I find with risk matrices is that they can be very one-dimensional. And we're using what's called Cooper's colors there to highlight, going from green up to deep red. That's fair enough. And we've got levels of 1 to 5 on the left-hand side. And we've got the most common descriptors, which are rare, a rare incident, unlikely, possible, likely, or almost certain. Your organization should have its own descriptions. And if they haven't got them, you need to build them. But these are a starting block for you. So when we're looking at 1, we're looking at rare. We're looking at may occur only in exceptional circumstances, and it's got under 10% chance of happening. Estimated frequency, 1 in 10 years. And then as we go up the scale, we've got unlikely, we've got possible, we've got likely, and then almost certain. Over 90% chance of that occurring on a daily or weekly basis. Using that information gives the risk matrices far more depth, far more texture than just using one descriptor, almost certain, likely, possible, etc., etc. What you have to remember is that we are security risk management professionals. The people that you will be reporting to will probably be on the board of directors, will probably be accountants or solicitors. They do not have a risk management background. So you need to be able to talk in a way that they will understand. Now, I really like using percentages. And when we look at impact, I will show you a really good way of being able to assess impact by using percentages and a monetary value. But there we are. We've got a descriptor on the left-hand side, a typical description, and percentages and a frequency. So that's a really good tool for you to go forward. The only trouble is with matrices, and when you actually do a risk assessment, is risk and how you view it is objective. I always suggest that when you're doing a risk matrix, that you try to make it as objective as possible. And I've suggested some ways you can do that. Some organizations use ISO International Standard 31000, the risk management standard. That will give you a really good objective view of looking at objectivity moving forward. The other one as well, I like the one at the bottom, peer reviews, cross-functional workshops. Get as many people involved in the risk management process as possible, because you will lose that subjectivity and you will gain that objectivity. And the other thing is as well, is that the more people that sign off at this, the better it'll be and the better it'll look to the higher management. So when we're looking at likelihood conclusion for that, it's essential. It helps you prioritize threats based on probability, enabling smarter risk-based decisions and more efficient use of resources. And let's face it, resources are always thin. Money and time, yeah, we've never got enough of it. So I hope you enjoyed that. For those of you as part of the Security Institute, you can have the certificate. Please get in touch with me with the email in chat below, and I'll get that certificate off to you. You get 1 CPD point, which is coming along nicely now if you get all of them. For those of you that have asked me, they will be coming out this week, I promise you.
Well, thank you so much for that, Richard. I already feel a little bit more knowledgeable, but I had no idea that it was quite so relevant. And also, I believe all the previous ones, because we're number 7 now, but only 3 are up on the YouTube channel. I think as of today, you should see some more. For those of you who've seen them and want to recap want to go back over the previous bit of learning, please don't hesitate to go there. Coming out of Richard's account on LinkedIn, there will be a link there so you can get up to that YouTube channel and check it out. And I would say to you, please like and subscribe. It really helps the progress on that YouTube channel.
The initial series is going to be on the risk management process, but there's so many other things that we can talk about. I'll leave that open to you. We're going to be doing impact next week, and then I'm away in Normandy the week after, parachuting into Normandy. Yeah, so we're not going to be doing anything the week after that, but we come into the end of the first series, which is the security risk management process, and then we can talk about peripheral things in the security industry going forward.
I also want to mention the fact that Richard has already written one excellent book, and there's another one on the horizon, and we'll be talking more about that closer to the time.
I also want to pat myself on the back of my colleagues. This week, the Security Institute and the government launched a level 4 for the Protective Security Advisor course, and I wrote a number of those modules. So I'm very happy to pat myself on the back with that, and I look forward to teaching that in future as well.
So watch out again. We'll be doing one more next week. You should be looking forward to that. Try and keep your eye on the ball. Remember, this is micro learning, so don't overload yourself in it. Perhaps skim it through and then perhaps re-watch it again, just pulling out the most important parts of it. Really try and reinforce the lessons that Richard's trying to put across to you, but in a non sort of dramatic, pushy way. The whole point about this is you'll pick it up very much more easily than perhaps inside a classroom. Until next week, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and please look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.